On the happiest day of my life, standing at the altar, my own sister grabbed the microphone, laughed in front of everyone I loved, and called me pathetic. What she didn't know was that every person in that room was about to learn who I really was, and by the end of that night, she would be begging me to stop. Part 1. The perfect day before it rose. People always say you remember every detail of your wedding day. They're right. I remember the way the sunlight came through the stained glass windows of St. Andrew's Chapel in downtown Charleston. Soft, golden, almost holy. I remember the smell of fresh roses mixed with polished wood. I remember the quiet hum of anticipation, 200 guests whispering, smiling, waiting. And I remember standing there in my tailored navy suit, hands slightly shaking, heart pounding. Because for the first time in my life, everything felt right. My name is Daniel Carter, 34 years old, born and raised in Ohio. Middle child, always the quiet one, not the favorite. That honor belonged to my older sister, Melissa. Melissa Carter was the sun around which our entire family orbited. Straight A student, head cheerleader, married young to a successful real estate broker, perfect Instagram life, perfect smile, perfect opinions. And me? I was the shadow, the one teachers said was smart but unmotivated, the one relatives asked, "So, what do you do again?" The one Melissa loved to introduce as my little brother who's still figuring things out. But that morning, my wedding morning, I wasn't a shadow. I was a groom. And I was marrying Emily Ross. Emily wasn't flashy. She didn't crave attention. She had kind eyes, a calm voice, and a strength that didn't need to announce itself. She loved me when I was broke. She believed in me when no one else did, including my sister, especially my sister. The warning I ignored. 2 hours before the ceremony, while the groomsmen were joking and adjusting ties, my mother pulled me aside. She looked nervous. "Daniel," she said quietly, "your sister's been emotional today." I smiled. "She's always emotional, Mom." My mother hesitated. She asked if she could say a few words during the reception. I shrugged. "That's fine. She's my sister." That was my first mistake, because Melissa didn't want to say a few words. She wanted to say the last word, why she hated my wedding. Melissa never approved of Emily, not openly. She never said anything outright cruel, at least not in front of others. She was smarter than that. But there were comments. "Oh, she's wearing that? Are you sure she's ambitious enough for you?" "She's sweet, Daniel. Just very simple." Simple, the word Melissa used when she meant not good enough. What Melissa never understood was that Emily didn't need to impress anyone. She already knew who she was, and that terrified my sister, because Melissa's entire identity depended on applause. The ceremony, the music changed. Everyone stood. Emily appeared at the end of the aisle, and for a moment the world disappeared. She was breathtaking, not because of the dress, though it was beautiful, but because of the way she looked at me, like I was home. We exchanged vows. I promised to protect her, to choose her, to stand with her, always. I meant every word, and when the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," the room erupted in applause. I thought that was the happiest moment of my life. I was wrong. The reception begins. The reception was held in a restored historic hall overlooking the river. Crystal chandeliers, white linens, soft jazz playing in the background. People laughed. Glasses clinked. For the first time ever, Melissa wasn't the center of attention. I noticed the looks, the tight smile, the way she whispered to her husband and glanced in my direction. But I ignored it, because I was happy. That was my second mistake. I'd like to say a few words. About 40 minutes into the reception, Melissa stood up. She tapped her glass. The room quieted. She smiled sweetly. "Hi everyone," she said. "For those of you who don't know me, I'm Daniel's older sister." Light laughter. She looked directly at me, and I just couldn't let this day pass without saying something honest. My stomach tightened. Emily squeezed my hand. Melissa continued. "Growing up, Daniel was always different." A pause. Not exactly a go-getter, not exactly a leader. A few awkward chuckles. And when he told us he was getting married, I'll be honest, I was surprised. The room went silent. She laughed. "We all thought he'd be living in our parents' basement forever, right?" Some people laughed. Others didn't. My chest burned. Emily stiffened. Then Melissa said the word that would change everything. She looked at me, and she said, "Daniel, you've always been kind of pathetic." Freeze. Time stopped. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. I could feel every eye in the room snap toward me. My mother's face went pale. Emily's hand trembled in mine. Melissa smiled. She thought she had won. What she didn't know was that every insult she ever threw at me, every joke, every dismissal, had prepared me for this exact moment, and that the man she thought was weak was about to stand up, the sister who needed Emmy to fail. People think jealousy is loud. It's not. Real jealousy smiles at you, claps for you, then quietly hopes you fall. Melissa had been jealous of me long before my wedding day. Not because I was more successful, not because I was more loved, but because I was something she could never be. Unshakable. The childhood truth no one saw. Growing up, Melissa needed approval like oxygen. Every report card, every trophy, every compliment. If she wasn't praised, she panicked. I learned early that attention wasn't my strength. Silence was. When our father lost his job during the 2008 crash, the house changed. Money got tight, voices got louder, stress lived in the walls. Melissa broke. I adapted. While she complained, I listened. While she panicked, I observed. And when I turned 18, I made a decision I never told anyone. The path I chose. I didn't go to a big-name college. I told everyone I was figuring things out. What I actually did was enlist. Not Army, not Navy. Something quieter. Something you don't brag about. Something you don't post online. For years, my family thought I was drifting. Working contract jobs. Moving cities. Never settling. Melissa loved that version of me because it made her feel superior. What she didn't know was that while she was selling houses and chasing likes, I was being trained to stay calm when everything went wrong. Back to the wedding after the word pathetic. Melissa lowered the microphone, smiling like she'd just told a harmless joke. She expected laughter. What she got was silence. Heavy, uncomfortable, I stood up, not fast, not angry, slow, controlled. Emily looked at me, eyes wide. I squeezed her hand once. "I've got this." The moment I spoke, I didn't take the microphone from Melissa. I asked for it. She hesitated, then handed it over, because she thought she'd already won. I turned to the room. 200 faces. Friends. Family. People who had underestimated me my entire life. I smiled. "Thank you, Melissa," I said calmly. Her smile faltered. "For reminding me why I learned to stay quiet." A murmur moved through the room. "I've been called a lot of things," I continued. Invisible. Slow. Unmotivated. I paused. But pathetic? I looked directly at her. "That's the first time you've said it out loud," the first crack in her confidence. Melissa laughed nervously. "Relax," she said. "It's a joke," I nodded. "Jokes are supposed to make people laugh," I replied. Silence. Her husband shifted in his chair. My mother wiped her eyes. Emily stood beside me now, not behind. Beside. What I revealed without revealing everything. "I've never talked much about my work," I said. Melissa smirked. "I know," she said. "Because you don't really." I raised one finger. She stopped. "I don't talk about it," I continued, "because the people who matter don't need to hear it." I scanned the room. But today feels like the right time to say one thing. I took a breath. I didn't build my life to look impressive. I looked at Emily. I built it to be unbreakable. The energy shift. Something changed. People sat up straighter. Whispers started. Melissa's smile was gone now. She realized too late that this wasn't going the way she planned. But the real shift hadn't even happened yet, because someone else had been listening.